Coming up on today's wrestling news, Roman Reigns provides an emotional tribute following the death of his father.
We find out when Seth Rollins knew about his WWE return.
Is an AEW star moving into commentary?
And the latest WWE Bloodsport crossover is confirmed.
I'm Adam Wilborn.
I'm Michael Hamflett.
And this is the news, and some sad news to start off with today, which you may have seen all over social media. Everyone, of course, has been reacting to this following the death of Roman Reigns' father. Sika Anoa'i provided the update on his Instagram page yesterday, sharing the news that his uncle, WWE Hall of Famer and one half of the Wild Samoans, Sika Anoa'i, real name Liati Anoa'i, has passed away, sharing photos of himself and Sika on his Instagram, as I said, and writing, "It is with profound sadness that I share the news of the passing of former Hall of Famer Palevo Liati Sika Anoa'i." Apologies if I've butchered that name there. He passed away peacefully on June 25th. Sika was a celebrated figure whose contributions and legacy have left an indelible mark. His memory will live on through his achievements and the many lives he touched. He was many things: a hardworking father, a caring brother, a supportive uncle, and a proud grandfather. He was a cherished friend to many, a loving family member whose warmth and kindness knew no bounds, and an inspiration to countless individuals. His legacy will continue to inspire and uplift future generations, reminding us of the impact one person's life can have on so many. Rest in love, Uncle Sika. Huge outpouring of love and memories of this guy, and obviously Roman Reigns paid tribute to his father on X yesterday as well, saying, "My family and I thank everyone for the outpouring of support in the name of my father, who will forever be remembered as one half of the Wild Samoans tag team. My father had a profound impact on my entire family, and we are forever grateful for the foundation he built for us. There is no way to fill the void left by his passing, but my sisters and I will do our best to represent him and his legacy. Rest in power, Dad. We love you." WWE also paid tribute to him, running through his amazing career, of course, and concluding by saying, "In 2007, the Wild Samoans were bestowed with WWE's highest honor when they were inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame, where they will be eternally enshrined as one of the greatest tag teams of all time. WWE extend its condolences to the Anoa'i family, friends, and fans." We obviously echo that sentiment. Just awful news, this pamphlet.
Yeah, and can't really say it better than the tribal chief himself, can we really? Like, it's when, you kind of get used to wrestlers existing so much in character, and including when you've got like wrestlers within wrestling families, that they can like use those characters. We've talked so much about the Bloodline this year and the extended Bloodline family following the big run into WrestleMania. They feel like a wrestling family that are the focus of wrestling at the very highest level right now, that it's sometimes easy to forget, like especially in this family as well, the hundreds of real bonds that exist between all these like wrestlers and performers and friends, and the like influence is the word that I keep thinking of here. So many wrestlers that will pass away from the generation that the Wild Samoans were a part of. You can drill into the influence of wildly successful on their own terms, and make no mistake about it, like history makers in every respect. But what you really start to see as the generations pass, as wrestling becomes such a huge mainstream television concern, is just the legacy that these like forefathers of further wrestling legends leave behind. It's like once upon a time, I remember like being younger and hearing of second generation wrestlers and imagining, what, his dad was a wrestler too, or the mother, like Ted DiBiase, his mother was a wrestler too. And now we're into third, like The Rock being a third, like thirds and fourths and fifths, and it's like legacies that like the Wild Samoans and Sika like was such a huge part of. You look at that family tree, they might be sort of in one of the like sort of lower tiers, but realistically they're right at the top of like ones that we've become more familiar with over the decades.
Yeah, and we all suffer loss throughout our lives, and it's incredibly difficult to deal with. But I suppose the solace you can sometimes take is the memories that you have with those people. And for Sika to have been around to see what Roman Reigns was available to achieve, and of course be involved with it. He came out, they put the lei on.
Anointed him the tribal chief.
Roman, if you remember. And and this isn't a time to be talking about what this means for wrestling storylines going forward. It's just a time to celebrate an amazing legacy. Once again, echo our condolences to the Anoa'i family, the friends, etc. Go and check out a Wild Samoans match today.
There may be something, in saying that, there may be something very sweet to add to the Bloodline segment advertised for SmackDown.
Yeah, of course.
It's a family base. They're doing an anointment of Jacob Fatu. Yeah. And like, there's an opportunity there to do something like, with like Sika looking down upon it as like Osola Sikoa being able to say that, he feels empowered by like the great legend of the Wild Samoans or something like that. You can absolutely. Paul Heyman, such a close link to the Samoans.
Yeah, it's again, I'm not to try and talk too much about wrestling here.
No, you don't want to trivialise
storylines, but like, like at least, and what I am glad about is like Roman Reigns isn't having to still go to work on Friday or whatever. He's obviously been gone. He will eventually come back, but it's time for him and his extended family to just go through the awful grieving process. But hopefully, as I say, remember better times and legendary moments with the Wild Samoans.
Indeed. From Roman Reigns, we move to his former Shield brother, Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins, of course, returned to Raw 2 weeks ago, and with almost no time before Money in the Bank, basically inserted himself right into the title picture. He'll be taking on Damian Priest. We talked yesterday about the potential huge ramifications of the stipulations either side of whoever wins that match. And he's spoken a little bit in detail about the return, the real life implications of his return to WWE after the big break he took following WrestleMania. And he kind of paints a picture of quite a, we say this phrase quite a lot now, quite a different WWE. He was speaking to Matt Aguilar of Comic Book Nation. And unlike so many of the comebacks and stories we've heard over the years of getting a call on a Sunday and being in town on a Monday, turns out he was given more than a few weeks' notice, basically, and this was all carefully for such a short build. There might have actually been a longer-term plan. Seth himself says, quote, there was a little fluctuation, but I had a few weeks' notice that he'd be coming back to television. We kind of looked at the timeline of the injury and looked at the stories, and I fell back into place. You never really know. You never know how things are going to go, but at the top of the card here on Raw, it's pretty stacked. You've got guys like Damian Priest, you've got guys like Drew McIntyre, CM Punk whenever he's around and able. You've got Gunther kind of waiting in the wings. You've got Rey Mysterio, the whole Judgment Day. It's stacked. It was very interesting to see where I could slide in. But the time felt right coming after a huge event such as Clash at the Castle. It was right for the picking. He talks a bit more about Damian Priest specifically in the match at Money in the Bank. He talks about how obviously Money in the Bank was integral to him winning the title the first time.
All makes a lot of sense, this.
Iconic cash-in and the heist of the century and all that. And then he adds, you put a lot of pressure on yourself. This is in relation to Damian Priest. Put a lot of pressure on yourself, but he's done very, very well. He's had some incredible title defences between Drew McIntyre and Jey Uso, and he's growing, and that's all you can really ask for. I'm not going to go as far as to say he's keeping it warm for me, but it is what it is. If it wasn't him, it'd be McIntyre. It doesn't matter. That title's going to be mine, and we're going to get it back sooner rather than later. And yeah, I think like in light of what we saw on Raw yesterday, if there really is this longer-term plan, and they have carefully mapped out when Seth Rollins was going to return, they are at least showing you the very possible idea of a Seth Rollins-Gunther world title match.
I don't think he
even
wins.
Even 2 weeks ago, it was home and dry that Damian Priest was making it to SummerSlam.
Exactly. I don't think Seth Rollins wins next weekend, but I'll bite on a pinfall.
100%, yeah.
And I'm very excited to see where he goes from there. Like, if he is stranded on Raw, seemingly with no world title to ever fight for again, I think Gunther's going to leave SummerSlam, whoever's got the title, as champion. So that stipulation won't last too long. But
stranded on Raw is interesting. If he's Cody, mate, I was your Shield. Like the least you could do, Cody. You said you owed me one. Remember that handshake? Remember that? Yeah.
So Seth's desperate to give us a SmackDown. What trade can we do for him? Who moves the other way if they decide to do something like that? I think it's a really exciting way of building it up. When we all thought, right, okay, well, if Drew's lost, how do they explain not putting him into another match immediately because he gets screwed out of by Punk? Well, Seth Rollins is here, and obviously when he comes back, he gets a title shot. That just makes complete sense, and especially around the Seth to Drew to Damian aspect of WrestleMania as well.
And you've mapped it out to have Damian be effectively Raw's three biggest non-CM Punk stars before losing the. If he goes Jey, Drew, Seth, he's kind of done them all, isn't he?
Amazing how it shifted as well, by the way, about like these reports of like last-minute changes and people turning up to AEW and not knowing what they're doing. And now WWE are the ones who are not only planning long-term storylines, but also being able to think, right, okay, well, this person's cleared, so they're not going to bring him back tomorrow, but here's a good point to bring them back, and they're informed of that. It's just wild how that's changed over the last few years.
Pendulum stuff, isn't it? Like, one day it'll swing back the other way, but we're absolutely in that cycle right now where all the stories you hear, and we joke about it, you never know if the stuff gets out because it's supposed to get out on purpose, but I think it's comfort as well. I think the comfort in knowing that we talked about this on the Raw review podcast, which I would recommend you listen to or watch on the What Culture Wrestling podcast YouTube channel. I think Sage made the point that Liv Morgan is so involved in Raw at the moment that if you lift her out, if she got injured or something, what would they do? But then to counter that, the exact thing happened to Rhea Ripley, and Liv Morgan got dropped in, and it just feels like
a draw, judging by those numbers against the Stanley Cup.
Indeed, yeah.
Jeez,
it just feels like they have that kind of roster at the moment in place where if somebody's out, there's less of a panic. There would have been once upon a time. It was like, Seth's back right now. Like, we need him. We need something.
Panic
we need something.
button,
Anything. How are we going to get to next Monday? You know, like, whereas right now it's like, sit on it a month. Like, they feel comfortable, I guess, with the roster they're presenting. The good times won't roll forever, so let them roll while they do. That's what I say.
Let's move over to AEW now, though. An interesting story regarding a talent potentially shifting onto commentary here.
Wild.
And probably not what you would expect.
No.
They have had sporadic appearances of, like, Mox has put the headset on for a bit. Eddie Kingston's always good value on
Brian
there.
likes it right now, doesn't he?
Yeah, Brian likes it. Obviously, Daddy Magic has been sensational.
Yes.
We love him here at What Culture. But one name you probably wouldn't have assumed would be making the shift to commentary is Satnam Singh.
Right.
Post Wrestling pointing this out, by the way. Shout out to those guys. Yeah. He's no longer listed on the men's roster. Instead, now on the AEW website, he's under the broadcast team wearing a lovely suit.
Yeah, he looks very dapper. Yeah.
Obviously, he's been with the company since 2021. Jarrett stuff. That's always been really good value. Most recently wrestled for AEW on the 14th of June episode of Rampage. But Satnam Singh commentator is not a story I thought I would be reporting.
I want to know how, if he's sat at the desk, you do the slow pan. How do you do that? Show the 1 in a billion for the size that he is. It's a bizarre one, this, isn't it?
I mean, he still looks massive sitting down, but it's not quite the same effect. I distinctly remember from my commercial radio days interviewing a certain diminutive pop star and me being 6'3" when we went to take the photo to be like, join me with my chat with so-and-so on Thursday night. He went, sit down.
Right, yeah, just I wonder if they'll like, because it's pro wrestling.
And if you want to find out who that is, maybe I'll tell the story at the next live show or something.
Imagine if we had one of them. Unrelated, if you're going to All In at weekend, like Sweet Chin Disco looks like a good time.
Oh, it does look good.
Like it's
Looks
like a
good stuff,
Wembley
that.
after party. Venue looks cool, nice and close to Wembley.
Yeah, might have to make some arrangements. But yes, I'm saying on commentary.
Do the Andre the Giant on a box thing. Have his chair even higher than you know the sort of office chairs. Put all the commentators on the lowest setting and put him on the highest. But have the table.
Mine's already down.
Put the table cover in the leg so it appears they're all the same level, even high. Have the what is it? The 3 shot of all the commentators and have his head slightly cut off like that. I wonder if I can go lower, won't it? Right, we'll do the entire one with Will Bonner.
Can you even see my head anymore?
Just enough, but this is what I'm pitching basically. Like the Satnam Singh virtually cut off from the top. This is it. We're doing this is AEW commentary going forward for the rest of this news. Right then, Wilbur. Fourth story today comes from another WWE Bloodsport crowd. I'm not going to carry on like that.
Okay.
Shayna Baszler was a feature of Bloodsport X in Philadelphia. I was there in person to see her.
Yes.
Unbelievable.
You hang out with Braun Strowman, were you?
Well, yeah.
Nah, this is weird.
I did. It was quite nice. We noticed CM Punk behind us, as did somebody that was filming. And on the video that went viral of Punk and a few
that
of
was it.
It was just my giant face in the shot that I was getting repeatedly tagged. It was like, it's Braun Strowman, it's CM Punk. Tag. What's that square face off What Culture? Shayna Baszler and Masha Slamovich had an absolute banger at Bloodsport X, and Shayna will be making her return. Opponent unknown yet, but
Mox.
this is. Yeah, why not? That'd be good. It's going to be Bloodsport 11. It's taking place in Brooklyn at the Roulette Intermedium. I like the sound of that venue. And it's pretty soon. It's July 28th. Couple of notes on this. Obviously, Shayna Baszler on Raw failed to qualify for Money in the Bank. Her and Zoe Stark are kind of, but not really, contenders for the tag title. Shayna's got a claim to it because of the Phantom Tap by Jade at Clash at the Castle. But this would presumably be taking Shayna briefly out, as it did before WrestleMania, kind of taking it out of the WWE conversation so she can go and work that. And you have to look at this WWE GCW thing as a thing. You know, we joke about Punk and Braun and whoever else. Nick Khan and Brett Lauderdale got the picture together at that Bloodsport show. Something is happening here. Josh Barnett, of course, just had this bloodbath with John Moxley. So
saw that the weekend,
as the front face of Bloodsport, he's presumably want to kind of keep the net as wide open as possible to any and all from pro wrestling. Moxley from AEW, Santino was on it, obviously from TNA. Now Shayna's going to be working Bloodsport. Barnett is the real Forbidden Door at this point. The Forbidden Barn Door. Right? Go on.
No, I was just... When you said earlier about Shayna and her claim at the tag titles, for some reason my brain went off somewhere, so I apologise if it looked like I was smirking at the story, because I just thought, what do you call a ghost's plumbing? Phantom Tap.
That's brilliant. We can do that again on another audio podcast. So I write that down. We'll recycle that. I lost my train of thought completely. On a ghost train, maybe. Shayna working Bloodsport is great, but the continued involvement of WWE and GCW is something absolutely to monitor. You know, for some it's just exciting, the possibility of more WWE wrestlers appearing on the GCW shows and within their network of shows. Always remember what history has taught us. Like, WWE does not play well with others. This could go badly as it could go well. But the posters look cool. Shayna Baszler's a perfect fit for Bloodsport. And Zoe Stark accompanied her in Philadelphia, so she, you know, unannounced might be present as well for that.
Yeah,
as,
like, in Shayna's Zoe Stark would work in that scenario.
They could easily fold her into that little world as well. Pretty cool stuff if you're attending in Brooklyn.
And sometimes I get a bit scared when doing fancy dress as a ghost. Sometimes I sheet myself. So, on that note, let us know your thoughts on everything we've discussed in the comment section below. We will be back later on today, probably, with some more news. And hey, maybe some fun as well. Join us for that one. Like, share, subscribe, and check out this video right here. See you later.